Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're going to be exploring a type of city
Okay.
you might not have thought much about before.
Okay.
Intermediate cities.
Right.
We're going to be using a variety of sources to kind of wrap our heads around all of this.
Sounds good.
Academic papers that are looking at urban trends in Latin America and Europe.
Okay.
We've got reports on local development projects. And even some urban planning strategies.
Interesting.
So are you ready to get a little urban today?
I think what's so interesting here is we're so used to hearing about these like megacities, like Tokyo and New York.
Sure.
But these intermediate cities are playing a bigger and bigger role in how the world is changing.
Okay, so to get started,
Sure.
how do we even define an intermediate city?
Right.
It seems kind of, well, in between?
It is. There's no like single universal definition.
Right.
Different organizations use different population thresholds.
Okay.
For example, the EU looks at cities with between 20,000 and 500,000 people,
Okay.
while the World Bank might go up to 1 million.
So what makes a city intermediate in Europe
Yeah,
might make it small somewhere like India?
exactly. And it's not just population.
Oh.
A city's connectivity.
Uh-huh.
Its economic role
Okay.
and how it connects to surrounding rural areas
Yeah.
are all part of the picture.
Okay, so could you give us a real-world example
Sure.
to help make this a little bit more concrete?
Germany has a really clear system
Okay.
called Zentralorte.
Okay.
It designates certain cities as service hubs for a specific territory.
Okay.
Think of it like a mini metropolis
Yeah.
that's designed to provide for a whole region.
So it integrates the rural and the urban
It does.
in a really intentional way.
Yes, in a very intentional way.
So it's more than just size.
Right.
It's about the city's function
Yeah,
within a larger region.
exactly. And speaking of function,
Yeah.
one thing that's really striking is how rapidly intermediate cities are growing,
Okay.
especially in places like Latin America.
Interesting.
In fact, research shows that smaller intermediate cities, those with fewer than 150,000 inhabitants,
Yeah.
actually saw much higher growth rates
Okay.
than larger cities between 2003 and 2013.
That's surprising.
Yeah, it is interesting.
Why is that happening?
Well, migration from rural areas
Yeah.
plays a huge role.
Okay.
People are drawn to cities for opportunity.
Right.
And sometimes an intermediate city
Yeah.
is a better choice than a megalocity.
Interesting.
For example, studies have found that in Tanzania, more people escape poverty by moving to secondary cities than to the largest ones.
You'd think the biggest city
Yeah.
would have the most to offer.
Right.
What makes intermediate cities better in that way?
I think they kind of hit a sweet spot.
Okay.
There's enough economic activity to attract people,
Yeah.
but they're not as overcrowded
Right.
or competitive as megalocities can be.
This rapid growth
Yeah.
must come with some downsides too, right? Does infrastructure struggle to keep up?
It's definitely a challenge.
Okay.
Uncontrolled sprawl is a big issue.
Mm-hmm.
As these cities grow outward,
Yeah.
they gobble up agricultural land.
Okay.
They put a strain on resources
Uh-huh.
and create environmental problems.
So it's not just about managing the number of people,
No,
but also how the city itself spreads out.
exactly.
Okay.
We see cities, especially smaller ones,
Yeah.
growing faster in area
Okay.
than population.
Oh, wow.
That means they're spreading out more quickly
Yeah.
than they're filling up.
Oh, I see.
Public services get stretched thin,
Yeah.
becoming technically and financially unsustainable
Oh, wow.
because demand can't keep up.
Do you have an example of where that's happened?
Leon, Spain is a good example.
Okay.
Overdevelopment there led to a public service system
Yeah.
that's really struggling to keep pace.
Okay.
They've ended up with underutilized infrastructure
Yeah.
because the city spread out too quickly.
It sounds like they tried to grow too fast
I think so.
without having the density to support it.
That's one way to put it.
Okay.
But there are more sustainable approaches.
Okay.
For instance,
Yeah.
planned satellite city development can alleviate pressure on the main urban center.
So by creating smaller, self-sufficient urban areas
Yes.
around the periphery,
Right.
you avoid overwhelming the main city.
Precisely.
Okay.
It's all about finding the right balance
Right.
to make sure that growth benefits both the city and its people.
And that's one of the things
Yeah.
that makes intermediate cities so fascinating.
I think so.
They have the potential
They do.
for a more balanced and sustainable approach to urban development.
Yeah.
So even with the challenges,
Mhm.
they have the potential to do things differently.
Absolutely.
And one of the most exciting things
Yeah.
is that because of their size,
Yeah.
they can implement innovative solutions
Uh-huh.
in a way that wouldn't be possible in a massive megacity.
Right. It's a different scale.
Right. Do you have any examples of that?
Sure.
Everyone loves a good success story.
Roskilde in Denmark is a great one.
Okay.
They've managed to integrate renewable energy
Yeah.
at both the district and city level,
Okay.
leading to a 70% reduction
Wow.
in their carbon footprint.
That's incredible.
That's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It seems like their size allows them to be much more agile
It does.
in adopting these green initiatives.
Yeah. And they can also build stronger relationships
Okay.
with surrounding rural areas.
Interesting.
Think of them as a bridge connecting rural producers to urban markets and consumers.
It creates a win-win for everyone involved.
Exactly.
And then there's the ability to be really innovative
Yeah.
with urban planning itself.
Uh-huh.
Take Agadir, Morocco.
Okay.
Their city plan specifically defines areas for growth and services,
Right.
helping them avoid unplanned sprawl.
They're being very intentional about it.
So they're learning from the mistakes of other cities
I think so.
and taking a more strategic approach.
Mhm. Yeah. And they're even using the idea of territorial capital.
Okay.
Basically, they're using the public dimension of land
Mm.
as the basis for their plans,
Yeah.
which allows them to create protected spaces,
Okay.
integrate different social groups,
That's-
and ensure long-term resource sustainability.
It sounds like they're pioneering a more holistic vision
I think they are.
of what a city can be.
Yeah, it's a really interesting approach.
But I imagine they face some pretty big roadblocks
Oh, yeah, definitely.
when it comes to things like funding and political power, right?
You've hit on a crucial point.
Okay.
They often struggle to access the resources
Yeah,
and navigate the policies they need to thrive
right.
because national and regional policies
Yeah.
tend to favor large metropolitan areas.
Okay.
This puts them at a real disadvantage.
So they're kind of stuck in a system that isn't really set up to support them.
Right, and that's a major challenge.
Yeah.
One stark reality is that intermediate cities often receive significantly less funding per resident
Oh, wow.
than larger metropolitan areas.
Because even though they're growing rapidly
Yeah.
and playing this increasingly important role,
Mhm.
they're not getting their fair share of resources.
Unfortunately, that's often the case.
And this has real consequences.
Yep.
It
So
does.
what does that look like?
Well, for instance, transportation budgets
Right.
in large Spanish cities
Yeah.
are on average 10 times higher
10 times.
than in medium-sized cities.
Wow.
10 times.
That's a huge difference.
It is.
It's no wonder they have trouble implementing these ambitious infrastructure projects if they're constantly being shortchanged.
Exactly. And it's not just about money either.
Oh, okay.
They also lack political influence.
Oh, okay.
Many important administrative bodies are located in large cities.
Right?
So decision-making power is often concentrated
Yeah.
far away from the intermediate cities that are most impacted by those decisions.
It sounds like they're caught in a vicious cycle.
Mm-hmm.
They need more resources and political clout to grow. Yeah.
But they can't get those things.
Right.
Because they're not already a major metropolitan area.
That's a great way to put it.
So how do we break that cycle?
Well, it underscores the importance of governance and policy
Okay.
in leveling the playing field for these cities.
So what needs to change?
Well, multi-level governance is key.
Okay.
We need to coordinate local initiatives with regional and national policies.
So breaking down those silos
Yeah.
between different levels of government.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But it's not just about top-down policies either.
Oh, okay.
There's also a trend towards what's called business-oriented urban governance.
Okay.
This approach gives families and businesses more freedom
Okay.
in choosing where they locate,
Okay.
but it can also create inequality.
How so?
Well, if policies are solely focused on attracting businesses and investment
Okay.
without considering the needs of the community,
Yeah.
it can lead to uneven development.
So certain areas might boom
Right.
while others are left behind.
Exactly.
So it's a balancing act.
It is.
Attracting investment is important,
Yeah,
but not at the expense of the people who already live there.
absolutely. And that's why strengthening local institutions is so crucial.
Okay.
We need to empower local communities to have a voice
Mm-hmm.
in shaping their own development.
What about public-private partnerships?
Yes.
Are those playing a role in supporting these cities?
Definitely fostering strong public-private partnerships is essential.
Okay.
They can leverage the expertise and resources
Yeah.
of both sectors to drive innovation and create new opportunities.
It seems like there's no one-size-fits-all solution
I
here.
agree.
It's about finding the right mix of policies and partnerships
Yes.
that work for each city's specific context.
Precisely. And the good news is we're seeing intermediate cities all over the world
Okay.
taking the initiative and coming up with really innovative solutions.
That's what I love to hear.
Yeah.
Give me some examples.
Okay, so we're seeing a rise in smart city projects
All right.
that use technology to improve citizen engagement and make service delivery more efficient.
So making things run a little bit smoother.
Exactly.
Okay, cool.
Villa Mercedes and Puerto Madryn in Argentina are two examples
Okay.
of cities that are using technology to become more responsive to the needs of their residents.
So technology is playing a key role
It is.
in helping them adapt and grow.
It is.
What else are they doing?
Another trend is the development of local clusters
Okay.
and specialized economic sectors.
Interesting.
This allows them to capitalize on their unique strengths
Yeah.
and carve out a niche in the global economy.
Instead of trying to be everything to everyone,
Right.
they're focusing on what they do best.
Exactly. For instance, mention specific examples of specialized economic clusters from the source material.
Interesting.
These cities are finding creative ways to use their local resources and expertise to their advantage.
It's inspiring to see them embracing their individuality. But are there any examples of cities working together to overcome these challenges?
Absolutely. We're seeing more and more examples of intermunicipal cooperation networks
Okay.
where cities are sharing knowledge, resources, and best practices.
Like a strength in numbers approach.
Yes, a great example is the Comarcas de Desarrollo in Argentina.
Okay.
These are regional networks of cities working together to promote tourism and economic development.
So they're not just competing with each other.
Right.
They're actually collaborating.
Exactly. And sometimes this collaboration even crosses international borders.
Oh, wow.
Avineta, Argentina, has partnered with Gorizia, Italy,
Okay.
on projects related to infrastructure and business incubation.
It's incredible how they're finding ways to learn from each other.
It
And
is.
support each other's growth.
It really is. And it shows that even though intermediate cities face unique challenges,
Right.
they're also incredibly resourceful and resilient.
So we've learned that intermediate cities aren't just like,
Right.
small, big cities.
Yeah.
They're a whole different category of
Wow.
urban space. Facing unique challenges, creating innovative solutions,
They are.
they're growing fast,
Yeah.
attracting people and investment.
Right.
But they often lack the resources and the political power of these
Yeah.
mega cities. But despite that, they're proving to be incredibly resourceful and resilient.
Yes.
What does all this mean
Yeah.
for the future of our planet?
I think intermediate cities represent a paradigm shift in how we think about urbanization.
Okay.
You know, they offer a path towards more balanced and sustainable growth,
Yeah.
a way to connect urban and rural areas,
Okay.
and a chance to experiment with new approaches to city planning and governance. But they need our support to truly flourish.
That makes sense, but it also makes me wonder,
Yeah.
if these cities are so important,
Right.
what can we do to help them succeed?
That's a great question.
I don't work in urban planning or government,
Right.
so how can I make a difference?
Well, it starts with awareness. You know, take some time to learn about the intermediate cities
Yeah.
in your own region.
Okay.
What are their strengths?
Okay.
What challenges do they face?
Yeah.
What makes them unique?
So like doing my own mini deep dive into my local area.
Exactly. You might discover hidden gems right in your own backyard.
That's a great idea.
Think about, your next weekend getaway.
Yeah.
Could you choose an intermediate city instead of a major tourist destination?
Oh, okay.
When you're shopping, look for businesses that source their products
Yeah.
from nearby intermediate cities.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hadn't thought about it that way before.
Yeah.
Supporting local businesses can actually have a ripple effect on a whole region.
It can.
Yeah.
And don't underestimate the power of simply talking about these cities with your friends and family.
Right.
The more we share what we're learning,
Yeah.
the more we raise awareness
Yeah.
and encourage others to get involved.
It's like that saying, think globally, act locally.
Yeah.
But in this case, we're thinking about the power of
Yeah.
these in-between cities.
Yes.
The ones that often get overlooked.
And as megacities become increasingly crowded and face their own challenges with sustainability,
Yeah.
intermediate cities could become even more important in the coming decades.
Wow.
They might hold the key to creating a more balanced and equitable future.
That's a future I definitely want to be a part of building.
Me too.
Thanks for taking us on this deep dive.
Of course.
I feel like I have a whole new perspective on cities now.
That's great to hear.
Yeah.
The pleasure was all mine. Remember, the next time you see a dot on a map,
Okay.
don't just assume it's just another city.
Yeah.
Take a closer look. You might be surprised by what you find.
That's great advice. Thanks again.
You're welcome.